Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck. I teach parenting and family communication as well as child development and problem solving all over the world through the lens of self-government, which is a principle for success. In this video, I'm going to be talking about introducing technology to children. I'm going to be sharing with you multiple skills in this episode, and although these methods are proven, they might surprise you. If there is one thing that people ask me about as I go to conferences again and again, it's, what do I do about technology? Nicholeen, what do you do about technology? When do you give them a cell phone? Is it okay to? There's so many people like these big time tech guys. They don't even give their children iPads and cell phones. Why would I give them to my child? But then at the same time, I feel like society is demanding it. What do I do? If you're in that same kind of quandary, this is a good place to end up, because there is a point when children probably do end up needing to be introduced to cell phones, but they do need to self-govern themselves when they have these devices in their lives. I've always taught my children that the device can either control you or you control it. And I'm talking about a computer, a TV, an iPad, a cell phone, an iPod, anything. If it develops a craving and a habit in you, it is controlling you. But if you only use it as a tool instead of a toy, then you are controlling it. So we call these devices tools in our family, and my children actually don't get them when they're really young. So I will say that right at the beginning. My children don't get their own personal cell phones until they hit 18. Before that, we have a family kid phone that we call it, that they can start using when they're driving and stuff like that. But otherwise, they have to get their texts on my phone. That's just how it goes. And my phone is locked down so that they don't just have access whenever they want to. They don't have their own computers until they start college classes, which usually doesn't happen until around the age of 16 or 17. And even then, we make sure that there's a lot of training that happens. They don't have their own televisions or their own iPads or iPods. Those things can just distract them from having good family culture. And we want our children to be connected to us, not to the outside world through a device. What do children really need from technology? Have you asked yourself that question? I think we're pushing technology on everyone and in every direction all the time. But what do children really need from it that we can't give them, that a book can't give them? What is additional that's there? It's not much. It's pretty minute, actually. In fact, some of their skill development is decreasing because of the increase of technology usage. So are we really helping them? We need to definitely think about that as we think about giving our children technology. And when we do give it to them, we've got to make sure that we introduce it properly so that that technology does not control them. Let's talk about how to do that. Before I talk about how to introduce technology and some of the skills that you might want to keep in mind, be sure to click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you don't get notifications from this channel, click that notification bell so that you'll know when new videos like this come out, so that you don't have to miss the help that is needed for your family. So what are some of the skills that your child needs to be able to be introduced to technology? Well, number one, a child is not going to be introduced to technology in our family if that child is not self-governing, which means that the child knows how to follow instructions, accept no answers, accept consequences, disagree appropriately, and they can do an amount of self-correction. So if they are not along those lines yet, then that means that that device definitely can control them. So they know there's a gauge. They know if they want increased freedom with technology, then they've got to master those 4 basic skills in all of the other areas of their life, which means that if I give them an instruction to do the dishes, they look at me, keep a calm face, voice, and body, and say, okay, or ask to disagree appropriately. Then they go do the dishes and they come back and say, Mom, I did the dishes. Is there anything else? Those are the steps to following an instruction. So they know all of the skill sets of those 4 basic skills and they use them on a regular basis. This doesn't mean they're perfect yet, but pretty much like say 95, 98% of the time, they are using those 4 basic skills and they're grateful for them. I also want to make sure that my child is setting goals and accomplishing their goals. So when we have our weekly meetings one-on-one with our children, these meetings we call mentor sessions, then we are going to be talking about goals that they're setting. If the child isn't going in a good direction or setting good goals, I'm going to be questioning their judgment, and they're definitely not going to be ready for having a device of their own of some sort. So following instructions is a key skill. Make sure your children can follow instructions from you and then see as they set these goals if they actually are able to follow instructions from themselves. That's the beauty of goal setting, is basically it's you giving an instruction to yourself, or maybe it's a no answer to yourself, and then seeing if you can follow through. And when you do or when you don't, then you start to do some self-correction. This means that you are well on your way to self-government, because that's what a self-governed life looks like. Starting when our children are really young, we create rules for technology, and we start with the television. So in our family, the TV was only used one night a week, and we didn't really even use it for TV. We would play some sort of a video, right? Like a DVD or even a VHS. Yeah, back in the old days, and when we still had a square, like a box that was a television. Anyway, so that's what we did. We said, okay, we're going to have Friday night as movie night. Our family will watch movies together on Friday, but any other night of the week, it's going to be a no answer. And this just made it so that they didn't develop a craving for the TV all the time. And I've got to tell you that I noticed that when, say, not everybody's in town, maybe it's just me and my husband because we're down to just one child now, and we're like, hey, let's watch a show. And then the next day, hey, let's watch a show. I start feeling a craving for watching a show the third day. It can develop that quickly. And so that's what I didn't want my children to have happen to them. In fact, it all started because my oldest son, when he was little, when he was about 3 years old, I realized that he had an addiction to morning television. We're talking Barney and Dragon Tales, but he wanted to see those things every single day. And I noticed he wasn't thinking as clearly, and he couldn't problem solve as well as on the days that he didn't see those things to start out his day. So developmentally, I knew it was a bad thing. I could see it within him, and I decided to give those things a no answer to, which meant I had to be more present. I had to be there in his life, helping him have new experiences, read him things, and learn things together with him every day instead of just putting him in front of a TV. So if you want your child to do well with self-governing technology in the future when they're older, make sure when they're younger that you are not giving it to them as a pacifier to give you more time to do the things you want to do. I know that's hard to say. I know it's hard to even admit, but we've all done it once or twice, and we recognize that really that's not giving the child what it really needs during that time. Sure, extreme emergencies, okay, but otherwise, make sure that you're there for your children and that they don't see that that's what they should go to when they don't get your attention. They need to learn how to be happy and okay on their own, even if they don't have someone giving them attention. And that means they've got to be unplugged most of the time. We have just scratched the surface here on introducing your children to technology. There are so many more skills that you need to learn in order to really help them self-govern and not be taken over by the influences of the technology. So if you would like to learn more, there is a great video that you should watch next, which is called 4 Skills to Transform Your Parenting. It will talk about the 4 basic skills, how to introduce them to your children, no matter the age, because they are for all ages. And this will help you and your children be better at self-government in the long run. So click on that video now, and I'll see you there.